Today, I'm so honored to be sharing with you one of our authors from The Strength of My Soul, Stories of Sisterhood, Triumph, and Inspiration. And as you know, The Strength of My Soul is really a story of 27 amazing women, all sharing their stories. And with one goal in mind, and that is to uplift and motivate and empower women. And so we're so excited that you're spending time with us today. And today I'm honored to be sharing time and space with the Dr. Vikki Johson. Just a little bit about her. She is an author, a minister, a chaplain, a living kidney donor, a mom. And not only that, she is the CEO of Authentic Living Enterprises, and she is the owner and the founder of the Wealth Academy. Dr. Vikki has been featured in Essence Magazine, Jet Magazine, Upscale, and just a ton of radio interviews and a ton of blogs. And so we are so honored, so delighted, so blessed, really, that she shared her genius with us to be a contributing author to this anthology. So welcome, Vikki.
Thank you, SharRon. Happy to be here.
Well,
Happy
thank you
to
so
be
much.
here finally.
So thank
Literally.
you. Thank you so much for just being tenacious and sticking with us. I'm so happy to spend this time with you. I know you're a busy woman, but I wanted to talk a little bit about your chapter and give everybody a feel of your genius and your generosity. And one of the things I loved about your chapter, I want to quote it, and you said, you started your chapter as, you said, I am not my sister's keeper, but I am my sister. So many women feel so disconnected from other women. Why do you feel that you are your sister's keeper, and why do you feel like it was important to start your chapter to set the tone for what you feel and how you feel about the importance of sisterhood and sister connection?
Well, when we're talking about, the strength of sisterhood and your vision, and really your vision is my passion, why we connected so quickly and deeply and authentically. And I actually heard that quote, I am not my sister's keeper, I am my sister, from another sister friend who is also an amazing leader. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I first heard that from John Levin. So that was maybe 5, 6 years ago. And I heard that quote for the first time, and it resonated with me because when we're thinking about being our sister's keeper, there's a separation, right? And when you articulate that, say, I am not my sister, I am my sister, what you're really saying is, I am you are me. There is no separation. We are one. So whatever is happening with my sister is happening. Um, when we think of being a keeper, if you will, with that comes responsibility and obligation. But when you see your sister as yourself, I believe it's a pause, right? It also allows for compassion to enter into the exchange and some sensitivity and vulnerability because, you know, thereby, but for the grace of God, her situation could be mine. And in many cases, her situation has been mine. So when you talk about the strength of sisterhood and the strength of our souls, and it just allows for what I believe God intended for a relationship to manifest. That's why I started there because I don't want the women who read our book, my chapter, who feel like I'm preaching to them. I wanted it to be conversation. I wanted her to immediately connect with me, understanding that what I'm sharing in my chapters comes from not a place of judgment, but from a place of resonance. Like, I want women to resonate with my words. My words represent awesome story. So I want her to see herself in my words and see herself in my resilience, see herself in my and see herself in my victory.
Wow, thank you so much. You know, when you talk about the exchange and the importance of sensitivity and the importance of vulnerability and the importance of compassion, I find that so many women are not able to extend that sense of compassion to their sister or extend that sense of vulnerability. And I find it more difficult that Black women, for some reason, have difficulty extending that sense of compassion and sensitivity and vulnerability with each other. What do you think that is attributed to? And how can we as women open up our hearts to have that real fruitful exchange that we feel each other's wounds, we feel each other's wins also. So I want to get your perspective on it because many times we will sit with each other's wounds, but when one of us starts winning, that fabric seems to tear, and we lose compassion and lose vulnerability for each other's stories and for each other's struggle. So share with me your perspective on that because I know you deal and have dealt with a lot of challenges, but also you deal with a lot of healing in many of the circles where you offer your services.
Yeah, well, that's a wonderful question, Sharon. And what I know for sure is that healing happens, okay? Um, and I know there's a hip hop song, there's a rap song out now that says there are layers to this. And
Mm,
my answer is a layered answer. Um, it's a beautifully loaded question and a beautifully loaded answer. Um, we have been programmed to be this. My quick answer. We've been
mhm,
programmed to be this. Um, and because we've been programmed this way, scripture says you can't put new wine in old wine.
mm,
You cannot place on top of a programmed mindset a new way of thinking. You have to deprogram, right? Just like a computer or a machine. You have to deprogram what was there, create capacity for a way of being and thinking.
mm,
So we have been programmed this way. The reality is history as we have known it, black women, women like you and I now, as women of color, our story historically has been told that we began in slavery or immediately in slavery, in Africa. The truth is, we were queens, right? We still are. We come from royalty. Our stories have been silent, our voices have been silent, and frequently we have been taught when there has been a sharing of information. So, especially this generation now in the 21st century in 2015, postmodern generation era, we only know our history back to slavery for the most part, collectively. There are segments of awakened women, there are segments of consciousness, but women who are awake and aware and conscious are the minority. And so many collectively only know their story beginning with slavery. Okay? So when we were in slavery, comparison started then. The light skinned black women were in the house, dark skinned black women were in the field. So I'm saying that to say that we have been programmed to be this way. And the power of our books, the power of our stories, the power of women who are awake and aware and courageous enough to say, have been told that is not the truth. You're a queen, you're royal, you're intelligent, brilliant, genius. I say this often when I'm talking about sisterhood, that if you and I and every co-author who's a part of this book and every woman mentor, leader, coach that you and I both know, we all were standing um, in our lane and, had a light, right, to attract every woman that we were born to impact. When each of our lanes became full and we no longer had capacity to take somebody else into our lane, There would still be women saying that, say, there's enough for everyone. There's enough for every woman to win. There's enough for us to build and and walking in our harvest and our promised place without having to compete with one another. But as long as we can see reality programming, black women portrayed in negative roles and stereotypes, as powerful as Olivia Pope is, she's alone and in love with another woman's husband. Like, powerful as um, we see black women portrayed, there's always the but. There's always the but, right? Oh yeah, she's awesome, but she's a murderer. She's awesome, but she's an adulteress. She's awesome, but she's a wrecker. Or like, there's always a but if we are relying on other people to convey our narrative in a way that empowers us. They're just not going to do it because there's value in keeping us fighting one another. That's the truth. There's value in it. So I'm sitting here literally looking at a photo as I'm talking to you, right? Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, First Lady Michelle Obama, Condoleezza Rice, Eleanor Holmes Norton, Ella Fitzgerald, Oprah Winfrey, Marian Anderson, Venus Williams. Literally, I'm looking at this picture right now. And that's a short list of the women that have had tremendous impact in our lives that we draw from. So our power to heal, in a nutshell, is in our story. We have to tell our stories, which is why, the book is so incredibly powerful, and I'm just honored to be a part of it.
Vikki, it's just talking to you. It's almost not only like it's therapy. I feel like you're speaking directly to my soul, and I don't know if I should be interviewing you or to sit at the foot of your wisdom because you're such a wise woman, and I appreciate you sharing.
Thank you.
You talked about the importance of honoring each other and in honoring each other's talents and skills and abilities and to move to a place of collaboration and celebration for our sisters. And I'm wondering, even in my experience, as well as your experience, the narrative is so important, yet for some women, we don't believe that narrative. We find ourselves competing with each other and competing with each other in very destructive and disruptive ways. When I think about my own career, not only in corporate America, but as a coach and as a teacher, what saddens me is been other women, women of color specifically, that have really hurt me in ways in the crevices of my soul. Because remember, people with a shared history know how to hurt the other because we've been there, done that. So, what has been your experience, and what could you offer to women who are trying to make a difference in the world, but the stumbling blocks seem to be other women who are kind of, as you're climbing up the ladder, holding on to your proverbial ankles and pulling you down? Can you share a little bit about your perspective on that, and also your experience dealing with experiences that way when you are trying to empower and trying to elevate not only yourself but also, most importantly, other women to feel the betrayal and the sense of sabotage that we as women of color we do to each other. I would love to hear your perspective on that.
I'm laughing because I'm really in that space right now. I think it was Biggie who said, more money, more problems, and we often hear new levels, new devils. But the reality is, relationships are for seasons. Some relationships are for a lifetime. Some relationships are for a moment. Some relationships are for a chapter in your life. And it's important when you are called to be a woman of impact, which all women are called to be women of impact, you have to be able to discern the seasons of your relationship. You have to get the lesson, allow it to make you better, not bitter, and move on. Does that mean your feelings won't be hurt? No, it doesn't mean that. Your feelings probably will be hurt. You will be betrayed. You will experience sabotage. But at the end of the day, you have to be inspired by the vision that provoked you to start in the first place. You have to keep your eyes on the prize, if you will. You have to stay focused on your assignment, and you have to understand that the outcomes and the legacy and the impact that you're going to have in the world on the lives of other women is greater than one or a few women trying to interrupt because they can't stop trying to interrupt the purpose for which you were born. The reality is that everybody is not going to be happy for you as you are ascending, and um, personal experience and or frame, if you will. Last January, almost 2 years ago now, what God said to me at the beginning of the year was that I was going to be ascending quickly, that things were going to happen quickly. But I had to ascend without attachment. Like, don't be attached to anything or anyone. That way I could be flexible, I could be pliable. I won't hold on to unproductive relationships longer than I have to. And so now, SharRon, where I am is when I discern or perceive um, the energy shifting in a relationship, I evaluate it quickly. I get the lesson, and if necessary, I move on. That doesn't mean love is lost. It doesn't mean, like or adoration or admiration is completely gone, because the reality is when you're hurt and pissed off, you don't like the people who did it, right? But when you contextualize it inside the circle of purpose, you understand that everybody is uh, serving a purpose on your journey to your purpose. I'm literally living this right now. I just said to a dear friend and confidant, you know, I said, I feel like, and my feelings, I'm getting over hurt feelings and transparent. I just feel like um, certain relationships that I had only knew how to relate to me. They felt like I needed. They only knew how to relate to a Vikki or a Vikki still growing and evolving in certain ways. And now that I have surpassed a certain mark, I don't think they know how to relate to me. I did some self-examination. What have I done? Did I do anything? I was willing to take responsibility for that and address it and apologize and ask for forgiveness if necessary. The reality is I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything but press for the mark of the prize of the high calling of God on 65. And so I have reckoned and reconciled that either they're going to be with me or they're not. I'll be 50 years. I have zero, zero energy to work hard at relationships, because relationships is my thing. Okay, I'm committed to healthy, whole, healing relationships. Every relationship in my life, I want the highest for the person I'm in relationship with and for myself. So relationships that I have had for years really should be on autopilot to the degree that we're just trying to outlove one another. We're just trying to out celebrate one another. We're just trying to out encourage one another. We're just trying to out inspire one another. But if I have to work hard at trying to the clutter of foolishness and misunderstanding, like, I am so honest and pure and transparent in my relationship. If there is a misunderstanding or confusion, 99.9% of the time it's the other person. Because I'm very honest, I'm very clear, very transparent. I show up in relationships the way I was. So if I am not getting that back, something's off, something's wrong, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to walk away from it because I don't have time for it anymore. That's what I mean when I say I don't have the energy to work hard at relationships. So the women who are walking with have to keep up with me like I'm trying to keep up with them. I'm gonna bring my very best every relationship. If it's not worth me giving my very best 100% all the time, it's not worth me being in that relationship. That's how I live my life. So, yes, I've experienced hurt, betrayal, uh, some abandonment, like women just disappeared. I'm like, what happened? We spent time together, we talked. I used to call you, hey, let's do this, you would say yes. Now you're not available. But I look on social media and you're hanging out with other people. It's not like it's something else going on in your life where you just post, right? So
Mm.
I'm asking, I put it on the table, have I done something? Like, what's going on? And I know that I haven't. My conscience is clear. And so, to your point, it, it, it's about being a wounded healer at the end of the day. I take my scars and my wounds, find a lesson in it so that I can share it with other people. And the higher you go, the fewer real, true, honest relationships. And you have to identify the gift of every relationship. Every relationship has a gift locked inside of it, even if it comes from pain. So you just have to identify the gift, grateful for it, move on, and keep your heart open, your mind open for new relationships. Because I believe God allows old relationships to fall off, making room for that you're going to need in your life where you're going.
You have just blessed me and released me and gave me some permission to make some changes immediately just by your words. You said so many things that resonated with my spirit. Something want you to talk about is help women understand or clarify what do you mean by that energy shifting. I know what that means because I can feel it. I sense it in my spirit. I sense it in the depths of my soul. A shifting, and I
Yeah,
think many times we see the shifting, but we want to rationalize it or justify
right,
it, and then
right,
we start living lives. I call them almost lives, or at least lives. I'm almost happy. I almost feel supported, or at least she didn't talk about me, or at least she didn't whatever, whatever. And I try to tell my clients, be careful when you start living almost lives or at least lives. We should always live as if lives, as if I'm wonderful, because you are. And so I'm interested to hear your perspective about what happens in your soul, your spirit, your consciousness, if you will, to know there's an energy shift and that it's time to move on and move away to continue your ascension versus sitting there and wallowing it or just accepting bad behavior or bad choices from other people that impact your life. So tell me a little bit about what that energy shift looks like for you and
I
what it
can't
looks like
tell
for
you
your
what it looks
clients.
like, but I can tell you what it feels like. Every
Okay?
woman has the gift of intuition. Like you know you might say something told me or felt different. So it's not so much what it looks like, it's what it feels like. We know when you can feel it. And for me, I'll talk about me, when energy is shifting in my relationship in a way that doesn't feel good, I feel like my spirit is shrinking, like it's
Mm,
constricted, like it's
wow.
choking, like like the air, like the oxygen is not what it should be. I almost feel like my emotional self is needs a nebulizer to help to
Mm-hmm.
breathe, right? When relationships that are healing, that are healthy, inspire you to shine. Like Marianne Williamson says, you're playing small serves no one, right? It is in shining your light that you give other people. Um, so that's what it feels like. It looks like is I'm a pattern person. So my relationships exist in patterns. So I pay attention. The way something started, the way it should continue unless it's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
If I call you, in of our relationship, you call me right back or you text me, I'm hanging out with you and get a call that you don't want or a text that you don't want to respond to, I'm paying attention to how you are responding, right?
Mm.
Um, and if we communicate and we always respond immediately, even if we can't talk, hey, SharRon, I'm busy, I'm calling you, can't talk right now, I'll call you back, I'll text you back, whatever. That immediate response turns into days, weeks. That's a shift. That's a
Mm-hmm.
shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're my hangout buddy, no, and the higher you go, you really have to be careful about who you spend time with and allowing your space. Um, if you are that person for me, then all of a sudden every invitation I offer you is not available. That's a shift when previously you were available, right? If I introduce you to people, hanging in my sphere of influence, we're hanging out together, then all of a sudden they're hanging out together without you. That's a shift,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you can challenge it or not. It depends on the value you place on the relationship. So those are just some examples. Like you can deny it and look away, like you said, and pretend like you don't see it and rationalize it, even after you address it. If it continues, the relationship has shifted, and you need to be okay with that and move on.
Oh, I love your examples. And, because I think we all can think about our lives and easily pinpoint those examples. So I'm so glad because those are good examples, and a good yardstick for women to think about. Because I think that even when some of my clients, and probably your clients also, are in relationships, they see the shift, but they make excuses. And then what happens is they keep giving up parts of their soul, parts of their spirit, and they come to me and probably come to you totally depleted, and they don't realize it chips away at their self-esteem when you start feeling like you're forcing yourself or there's no place for you. And I had to tell myself with some of my friends, okay, there's no place for me. Okay. And like you said, look at it as a gift. I always look at my friends when people who started clapping for you, and now the clapping is stopping, and now the clapping has started to unsolicited critique or just downright criticism. Be careful, even when the criticism is cloaked in sarcasm or I was just playing. And
Right.
because I think that to me, that truth is when I have heard the real story about people, what people really feel about me. And so I'm going to take your examples and share with some of my clients because I think those examples are tangible. I want to move on to something that is usually a taboo in our community, and that's about the talk of about depression. And I want to talk about it because I know I have struggled in my life on and off with debilitating depression, and it's been a topic that was hard for me to not only accept, but due to the stigma that I experienced most profoundly from the church is that I refused to get treatment until the point that I could no longer take care of my son. I was so debilitated. But I want to talk about that because you've been very open about your postpartum depression. And I just want to, by us talking about it, liberate some other women to
Right.
talk about it because it's the silent killer of our souls that people don't talk about. I would love for you, and if you feel comfortable, sharing your experience with depression and how you were able to start your own healing toward wholeness and harmony. Because I know even though we have a similar experience, our journeys are very different. But I would be interested in hearing your journey about going from depression and healing, and also how you're dealing with depression to make sure it's something that you address and monitor on a daily, a weekly, a yearly basis to make sure you stay in harmony and in wholeness.
So I'm very open about it, very transparent. I will say we were created to express ourselves, okay? And anything that don't express, suppressing it, pushing it down, or ignoring, or denying, just you're quiet, you lost your voice. Understand throat chakra is closed up. So anything that you're not expressing, suppressing, anything that you suppress too long, it begins emotionally and energetically affect you physiologically and biologically. So when you have lost your voice and now have suppressed what should have been expressed, that's what causes depression. That's what causes depression. You are literally shutting down your nervous system, your emotions, your mind. That's what depression is. I say, my opinion only, people who are depressed get relief and release feeling when they start expressing what they suppressed that led to the depression in the first place. Which is why therapy is, why having someone to talk to, because as you start getting it out, you're now creating capacity for well-being. Depression is simply you overloaded, basically constipated with emotion. Depression is
Wow.
constipated emotion, right? So support, feel safe to express what it is, stop talking about it. And the reality is, my postpartum depression came in the midst of an already accident. So I felt like labor was more suffering in a place where I was already in. It just spiraled because I wasn't talking about it. I was pretending to be okay. I was pretending to be okay. When I got tired of to be okay, started expressing myself. One day it just, my story honestly, is I didn't have any medication. It was lit. I was just tired of darkness. Tired of being in darkness. Come on, light. Become the light. That's why I can talk about it freely. Because I was like, it's dark in here. I just kept walking toward the light. Honestly, it's not kept walking. Women don't
I-
need we need to feel safe. No, we need to feel safe. We need to feel safe. Um, and we need to feel supported. Feel that way? Feel, feel. I don't care what it is. Anything you can't talk about is already out of control. Your body
Woo.
is going to follow. Your body is going to follow.
You just
So
set
that's
some
my
people
story
free.
without really, going into detail. My depression lasted about 5 years. One day it just I came back to myself.
I gotta tell you, you just set someone free by by that one sentence that what you said what you don't talk about. You know, if you can't talk about it, you're in the wrong space in that sense of safety and sense of security. I want to something that I love to read your post. Let me tell you, you are kind of like my daily motivation. And I will encourage every woman to go to Girl Unplugged. If you're not in that community, go to Girl Unplugged on
Girl
Facebook.
talk. Girl talk.
Yeah, Girl Talk. I'm sorry, Girl Talk, because it is amazing, amazing tidbits that feed your soul. I call it little moments for moments of motivation. They're so helpful. One of the posts I think I read that you had done a seminar, a workshop around the issue of abortion. And I believe in every woman's right to choose. I want to say that. But what I think is so important is that there are wounds that happen in our souls and our spirits due to abortion that women we can't talk about because there's no place to have an honest, transparent conversation. And it was so loving that you had that conversation that I sent some of my clients over to say, hey, read this because that wounding and all women are different. I'm not saying it's for everybody feels the same way, but that wounding that happens are those feelings that happen when women cannot share their experiences around the topic, that causes that emotional constipation and that mental and spiritual clutter that they have challenges not only dealing with themselves but reconciling with something that they might have done in their 20s or 30s or whatever. I would love for you to talk about that post and talk about that service or that seminar. I think it was a workshop, a teleconference or something that I read about, and the comments that I read from women that you had just liberated them and set them free, and you gave them a voice and you gave them a safe space to have emotions and to talk about it. And I celebrate you for that. And I just sat there and I read, and it was just so helpful. Can you talk about that work that you're doing and the work that you're doing through your own company called Soul Wealth Academy? I love the name, the Wealth of the Soul. I'll call it the Strength of the Soul, but yours is called the Soul Wealth. Can you talk about that particular post and that particular healing work that you're doing around women who have some I call some residual or some after effects due to their abortion? And why do you think women have that? And what do you offer to help them get through those stages of healing to address those issues and deal with those issues from a place of power and not a place of pain?
Right. It's all about creating a safe space for women to talk through, process, feel, heal, deal, then heal. Right. You gotta feel your emotions, then deal with the
Mm.
emotions, and then you can heal. Boom. You have to feel your feelings. Right. So scientifically, if you just allow yourself to feel fullness of every emotion, it takes about 6 seconds. Isn't that amazing?
Mm.
It takes about
Mm.
6 seconds. But often what happens is we cut off the emotion because we don't want to feel the pain, or we don't want to feel the joy, we don't want to feel the sadness or the disappointment or the excitement and happiness. So we short circuit it.
Mm.
So once you feel that, way you deal with it is to explore the story around it. What are you telling yourself? Because often the story in your head is worse than you're hearing your voices, you're hearing other people's voices, you're hearing stories and words and narratives you heard as a child. You're adding that story. So until you heal and you deal with the narrative, you can't heal it. And so soul wealth is abundance, compassion, and authenticity, self first. It is allowing women space, whether in my intangible prosperity group program or one-on-one VIP days, or I have a whole growth spiritual mentorship program every 6 months and 12 months. I provide that. support and safe space for celebrity leaders, high-level leaders, executives, and then just women who are still talk unplug, sacred sisters, or women when I'm speaking, or women who read my book, available, but the core group of most of my mentors/clients are high-level women. I really don't have a lot of options to take because when they're in public spaces, they always have to be on. You know, they have to be that person, their music or on watching them hear speak or read their book. So I know for a fact that I am a that I am a safe place for higher dominance. So that really is the context that I create, different offerings that I have. The truth is, a lot of women are walking around wounded and dependent. At some point, you're gonna crash, right? And when you crash, I'll be here, like without judgment, full of compassion and love. But you're gonna crash; it's inevitable. So I've always been this way, child. Like deal with it and get it over with. You know, like go tell mom the truth, get the whipping, get it over with. So just deal with it and get it over with instead of allowing the inevitable, create the inevitable. Just get it, deal with it, so you can get on the other side of it. And that's what helping women get on the other side of what is there. Now, some women have suppressed it or repressed it, right? They've repressed it. They've tucked it away, don't want to repress it. But one of my mentors shared something that she heard one of her mentors say. And what she said was, Holland, what she said was, what you don't feel gets multiplied in the next.
Wait a minute, let me just make sure I heard that. What you don't heal gets multiplied in the next generation.
Yeah.
I believe that in my heart. Oh, I have never heard it that way.
You don't want to do the work. You don't want to do the work for yourself. Do it for your children and your grandchildren. You don't have children. Do it for your nephews. You don't have nieces and nephews. Do it for the children that you know that you love, right? Because what you don't deal with, like it's a whisper in you, but it will become a roar in the next generation.
It is so interesting. One of the chapters in my book, I have learned a few things. It's called Face It or It Will Follow You. And I used to hear old women say that when I was growing up, face it or it's going to follow you. And I used to think that it was literal, because they used to say a lie is going to follow you, right? And I never really thought about it till I kept going from situation to situation, job to job, relationship with relationship, trying to not, like you said, deal with my wounds. And I just brought that toxicity and poison to every situation. And then, just like you said, when I started being successful, I felt like there was no place to share. I mean, as a minister, sometimes it's hard for us to find a place to share our wounds because people are looking to us for leadership. And I'm telling people, don't put me on a pedestal, even though we don't want them to, they do, which makes it hard. And I'm so happy that I know that if I get into a place, I can come to Vikki Johson. Yep. And I want you to know that if you ever get to that place, you can come to me. Because I just feel like sisterhood is a gift that you have offered me since I first met you in Dallas. And I'm so grateful for that. And I remember soon after I met you, you said, SharRon, I love you. And I was like, how would she love me? She doesn't know me. But then when I started hearing your philosophy, because I wasn't used to being loved, right? I have a history of feeling hated by my own past and not and abandoned and not honored. And when you told me that, it made me step a little closer to you because I'm saying, you know what? She didn't have to say that. So she sees my value, and it helped me really reaffirm my own healing work that I was doing. So I don't know if you remember that you did that for me, but you did, and it was such a gift that
I'm
you did
glad.
that, and I appreciate that. But I want to get right before we leave. I know that you're doing some additional work around soul wealth. I know
Yes,
we talked about your emotional and spiritual work that you're doing, which is such a blessing. But there are other ways that you are teaching women to really be a blessing, not only to themselves but to future generations and to their families around a different type of wealth, and that's financial wealth. Can you
yes.
say more about those services and how there's a connection or intersection with soul wealth and financial wealth? Can you share a little bit about what you're doing there and how
Sure.
people can
Thank
connect
you
with
for the
you?
opportunity. Well, I am now a licensed financial educator, certified financial educator, and I am a part of what's called the LISA initiative. LISA stands for Life Insurance Savings, where we are teaching women. There are layers to finance, but where I have been blessed to now step into a space and given a platform and a voice is to share with women the importance of planning and plenty for times of famine, right? So retirement planning, life insurance, um, or that same mentor that I mentioned, LaShawn Holland, she calls it love insurance.
I
Um,
love that.
so, retirement planning, life, love insurance, and um, they're called accelerated benefit riders, but it's really disability income because three things are going to happen to everyone. One of three things. You're going to die too soon, you're going to live too long, meaning you're going to outlive your money, or you're going to get sick. And so, um, what our Elite 100 Dream Team, what we do is we travel and we do worthy of wealth summits for women, where
Wow.
we just share stories. I'm a storyteller. I talk about myself using my job, and when a lot of times when I ask women, I have a particular passion for single moms, young couples, and I say, do you have life insurance? Oh yeah, I have insurance on my job. Well, you have insurance on your job as long as you have that job. When I
Mm,
left my job, where I was paying a little more than $18 a month, literally within 2 weeks after I left that job, I got a letter from the insurance company saying if I wanted to keep that insurance, it was going to cost me $300 a month. Go from
wow.
$18 a month $300 a month. So the importance of that example is that you have insurance outside of and separate from your employer. Another passion I have is for women who are business owners, self-employed, or entrepreneurs, because many times, and it's really in network marketing. So, like, if you aren't making plan for your retirement and height of your income season, income earning season, because famine is coming. You're going to get older. There's cycles. Your income is going to go up and down. So while you're making the money, plan for your retirement. You might say, well, I don't need life insurance. I don't have children. Well, what about when you retire? Especially hair salon owners,
Mm,
barbers, network marketers, doctors, lawyers, people who, if you're not working, you're not generating revenue,
mm,
right? And people, and we are now shifting to small business based run economy in our country. So small business owners are all focused on the business and making money. But if they can't work,
mm.
how are you going to survive? So that's what we have with accelerated benefit riders. And the beautiful thing about this, Sharon, that I'm so excited about is that it's based on what you can afford. You can put people in retirement life insurance, accelerated benefit rider vehicles for as low as $25 a month. And you can afford that. You can afford $25 a month. That's a cup of coffee. That's $1, and so you can really afford $50 a month. That's $1.75 a day. That's a
So
cup of
true.
coffee
That's
a
true.
day.
That's
That's
so
the
true.
spare change in your wallet at the end of every day. So what it really is about is a new way of thinking
Mhm.
around finance, around money, and it is congruent with whole wealth because oftentimes we end up in emotional and mental spaces um, due to relationships that we often stay connected to because the provision attached to the relationship. So women
Wow.
domestically violent relationships stay because their partner may be the provider of resources and finance. I can't survive on my own, so I gotta stay. How am I gonna live? Those kinds
Mm.
of things. So it was a tool of empowerment for me to add to my arsenal of healing and wellness, and for women with children. You can insure children as young as 14 days old. Um, show you how to create transferable generational wealth. GoFundMe, that's not a plan. Your pastor, your family, that's not a plan, right? That's why we call it love insurance. Love the people you love enough, put a financial plan in place. The purpose of insurance is to maintain quality of life. That's what insurance is for. Maintain or increase quality of life. Other cultures do this well. Jewish culture does this well. Asian culture does this well. They plan for generations. They plan for generations. And I'll end the way we started this conversation. We have to get out of that slave mentality, looking for someone else to take care of us. And it is so apropos for us to be having this conversation on Black Friday because
Mm.
African Americans, if we were a nation with our $1.1 trillion economy, we would be like the richest world. And on Black Friday, between Thanksgiving and New Year's, spend half of that during the holidays on stuff we can't afford, on stuff we don't need, on things that you're going into debt over. And I'm so excited about God trusting me enough with this opportunity to mine because I'm just a person to say. I heard Jewel Tanker say, "You got red bottom shoes, but you don't have a red bottom bank account."
Ooh. Wow.
There, right? But there's truth in that. I
Yes, it
heard
is.
David Banner say in this movie called Black Friday, the movie, he said, Louis Vuitton doesn't want black people to know, right? But we bust our butt to go and spend money we don't have. And we're not thinking about retirement, we're not thinking about long term care, we're not thinking so it's a love conversation that I get to have. And anybody that wants more information can go to Lisa Lisa LISA.com. It's a movement and it's connected to the Black Wealth Alliance and it's connected to Energy Wealth Solutions. We are taking this thing on the road, empowering women and families one woman at a time. So thank you for the opportunity to share that forward, building amazing partners across the country. And we're on the road every month. Connected with Dr. George Fraser, FraserNet, and the Power Network Conference to partner with us. So I'm just excited about what lies ahead and how all of the roads that I have traveled up to this moment have prepared me for this assignment. And I believe this is it because I'm now in a position to help a transferable generation of skills, real tangible things, right? Like I can talk you off a ledge, I can pray for you, but this is a tool that allows you to equip other women to something tangible that they can pass down.
I have to say, you've probably heard this phrase, and it reminds me of you that you offer support for somebody to have spiritual sense, SENSE, and financial sense, CENTS. So if they come to Vikki Johson, you're gonna leave with some sense and some sense in your spirit and some sense in your pocket, and that's a blessing because they are so connected. Well, Vikki, as we end, I have asked every co-author this question, and there's a twofold question. One, how do you define strength? And secondly, what is the strength of your very soul? So two questions.
Right?
Strength, and what is the strength of your very soul?
So I define strength as constantly healing. Constantly healing. And the strength of my soul is peace. I said that in my video, and I mean that because I lived for so long in chaos. Lived for a long time in chaos. While pretending like I wasn't in chaos. That's a hot mess. Okay. Hot mess. Hot mess. And it was during that time though that I learned all my lessons that I now so freely share with women. So peace. Sorry about the phone ring.
That's okay.
Peace is possible. Peace is possible. It really is.
Well, thank you. So, I think peace, the strength of your soul is peace. Vikki, how can people stay connected with you? I know after people see this interview, you already have such an amazing platform, but I know more people will want to connect with you. How can they find Vikki Johson? Can you also please share the titles of both of your amazing books? Just give, and I'll make sure I have information so people can contact you because I know after seeing this, people are going to want to connect with you and they need to connect with you and your wisdom because I believe women wisdom wins and you are providing so much wisdom that will help all of us win emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically by the wisdom that you share. So how can people connect with Dr. Vikki?
Thank you, SharRon. My website, please go to my website, join my mailing list. It's Vikki Johson, Vikki. It's VikkiJohnson.com. And connect with me on all of my social media. My books are available there, my candles. You can find out information about Soul Wealth Academy, as well as send me a direct email. It comes direct to my personal email if you're interested in the initiative, getting your money right, getting your emotions right, getting your relationships right, getting your mind right, getting your spirit right. VikkiJohnson.com. I finally got a destination where you can connect with me, join my mailing list, connect with me on all of my social media, and send me an email if you're interested in any of my offerings that I am so blessed and honored able to be of visionary, legendary service in the world. And grateful, SharRon, to be one of your co-authors of my soul. I'm so excited. So thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and all of the amazing other co-authors of this project.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your genius with us. Thank you so much for saying yes and saying yes to this opportunity, to saying yes to this interview, to saying yes to being my friend and a person that I know that if I ever find myself in a bind, I know that I can come with you and get clarity, confidential clarity. And because that's the issue. And I just thank you so much for who you are and how you're just being a beacon of light for so many of us in the world. So thank you so much, Dr. Vikki. We look forward to connecting with you. And I look forward to January the 10th, the official launch of the book. And again, thanks so much for your time and have a great, great rest of the day. Mwah! God bless you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you, man. Bye-bye.